The rise of Reform UK in the opinion polls continues as the Tory government are freaking out about not just the by-elections coming up, but also the general election. So Reform UK and Rishi are pretty proactive these days. Rishi himself has his own show on Talk TV, Talk Radio, whatever, and they also produce a lot of material when it comes to policy programs, as well as a lot of attack ads, which are quite working quite well. Let's go to the latest attack ad that we have from Reform UK on the massive attack on Rishi Sunak and the Tories' handling of the border crisis.
The OBR has revised up its expectation for the annual rate of additional net migration, which is apparently the highest level ever in its forecast. Is this what taking back control of immigration looks like?
The thing that everyone talks to me about is not that. Remember, I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Those figures have just come in. They've literally just dropped.
606,000. Size of a small city.
Numbers are too high. It's as simple as that, and I want to bring them down.
Net migration to this country will be in the order of tens of thousands each year.
Tens of thousands.
Take back control of our immigration system.
Yes, net zero immigration. When you watch that footage, especially the old ones from David Cameron, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, it's a bit of a reminder, because a lot of people, well, those who are completely frustrated, they would say they can see what's happened. 13 years of Tory government, things just got worse and worse. But some who are still sympathetic towards some of them saying, well, I like Boris Johnson, or Theresa May was a nice lady, or David Cameron, his government was stable. They completely forgot that they all make the same promise. Bring down the numbers to tens of thousands, and then got worse. And they said we're going to take back control of the borders. And which again, and then Ramonas are EU rejoiners. They're taking advantage of this narrative saying, what happened to your Brexit? Brexit was supposed to stop this. Brexit is a concept. What you're talking about is Brexit Britain, as in the way government and politicians are handling post-Brexit Britain, which is also a weird concept because we're still tied to EU laws and Northern Ireland is still part of the European Union. So you can't really fully criticize Brexit when it's been a complete mess in terms of policy by our governments, successive governments over the last few years. So if that happens, even if you have full Brexit, it's not Brexit itself that will either open up the borders or close the borders. It's still a government policy. Because these people are coming from France. We can still close the borders, but we're not, because we're still part of ECHR and we can't really upset our globalist friends on the international stage. We just have to have a grown-up conversation. Reform the asylum system, reform the migration system, have a grown-up chat about economic need, as well as lack of, obviously, cultural integration, and obviously the threat to national security. We don't even know who a lot of these people are. We can't vet them. We can't call the original countries because a lot of them are lying about where they came from. And everybody's suddenly coming from Afghanistan when there's a conflict there. Everybody comes from Syria a few years ago when there was a conflict there. So this has always been an issue. Yet at the same time, they're completely trying to blame everybody and everything else. So the Tories, time is up. Reform UK, they have a policy program. We know that. But for them getting a majority in the House of Commons, it's unlikely, but they can create a scenario where we could get a home parliament and a complete mess of a system and a messed up coalition where they could potentially work with the Tories, I guess. But again, we can't really say it's a situation where Rishi Sunak remains as party leader and prime minister if he doesn't get a majority. So it's goodbye time for Rishi Sunak regardless, unless he manages to win the majority. I mean, I just can't see that happening now. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.